The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie show on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Free Kicks. So, coming to us live from a hotel room, where?
Orlando, Florida.
Orlando?
A beautiful 86 degrees.
Okay, whatever. We like to start the show with a song, walk-in music from one of the teams in the Premier League, and you have to tell me which team it is. This one's pretty easy. You better get this. All right, here we go. You know that one. What is it?
Has to be Crystal Palace.
Very good. Glad all over. The Dave Clark 5, one of my favorites. I think my very favorite song that they play at all of these stadiums. Yeah. And it is now time for Free Kicks.
And now, Free Kicks. Free Kicks with Illinois Youth Soccer Association's Director of Coaching, Adam Howarth, and Rick Kemper.
So, as we were getting ready to do this show, I was just going through Twitter, as I like to do, and there it was. Very exciting potential news. Now, we had a false alarm earlier this season when they were talking to Neymar and potentially come to Chicago, but now we know that they are also talking to Kevin De Bruyne. That would be unbelievable. He's announced he's not coming back to Man City, so he's fielding offers, and one of the offers that he has, something he's got to consider, because I'm sure they're throwing a ton of money at him, is an offer to come play in Chicago for the Chicago Fire.
Wow. What an amazing, that would be just fantastic.
Wouldn't it?
And you did get it from a very trusted source.
I did. Tell everybody who.
Fabrizio Romano, he's the one that does everything in terms of revealing all the news.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it, but he is the most tuned in soccer reporter in the world.
Yes, exactly. And this would be monumental in terms of seeing it. I'm just reading an article concerning why it would make sense for him to come to Chicago. So the big one is that he's obviously not going to get too much of a pay cut. That would be basically it, because the Chicago Fire have a good chunk of money to be able to pay. So that would be really good. Inter Miami is also looking at him and a couple of others, but ultimately he could be the guy that could pinch some things around. And after going to the game, I don't know if I told you, I went to the game this past weekend. Fantastic. The Fire looking a lot better.
Yeah, they are.
Playing into Miami, drew 0-0. Adding a player of his quality to be able to then maybe just unlock things that have not been unlocked in the game would be a great move for him.
It would be. We had 100 green-white people at that game, too.
Nice.
So,
that's good.
Trying to support the Fire because they aren't as sucky as normal this year.
Yeah, they're doing good.
All right, let's talk about the Champions League, because that's the reason we waited until this moment to record this show. We're recording here on Wednesday. All of the Champions League games have finished. We now know who the semifinalists are. Why don't we go over some of these games? Because there is one English team that is in the Final Four. Tell everybody who that is.
That's Arsenal, and you could probably say this was maybe a little unexpected, but they beat the defending champion. So fantastic result. Not only did they beat them at home, but they just beat them away, 2-1. What a result.
Yeah, so 5-1 collectively in those two games, which is convincing.
5-1 on aggregate. That's amazing.
Yeah. So Arsenal is in the Final Four. The other game that just ended, I watched the last 10 minutes, Bayern Munich versus Inter Milan. Bayern Munich was just pounding the goal, just pounding it, pounding it. And Milan was just doing whatever they could to keep it out. And they were successful in doing so. And they managed to knock off Munich. And so Inter Milan is one of the other finalists now.
Yeah, wow, that's a big result. 4-3 on aggregate. Yeah, great result for them. So, they're probably, again, a team that probably upset a team that was expected to win, Bayern Munich. So, yeah, a little bit of surprise. So that's good for them.
So the other two games were yesterday, and you mentioned that you didn't get a chance to see them, but the Aston Villa versus PSG game was one of the greatest games. PSG came in with a 2-goal lead. It looked like they had it wrapped up. Then they scored the first 2 goals on counterattacks, just like out of the blue, because they were playing back. They scored 2 goals, so they had a 4-goal lead, and everyone thought, okay, that's it, right? But no. Aston Villa storms back. They scored 3 goals in dramatic fashion. They were really playing great. They had 3 huge opportunities to score that tying goal at the very end. And again, just like Inter Milan, PSG, they were just doing whatever they could to get the ball out of bounds. Whatever they could do, they were just kicking it. They looked like they remembered they were a team that was famous for choking. Right?
Yeah.
PSG is kind of famous for that, in the Champions League anyway.
Yeah, no question. And in fact, the manager, Enrique, came out. He said that was the most amount of pressure they've been under all season. Yeah. So kudos to Aston Villa to come back. Disappointing first goal to give away. I mean, Martinez. I mean, I'm going to go out on a bit. I just don't know about Martinez. I know he gets a lot of plaudits. Obviously, he's on a good team in Argentina, but he's always good for one of those mistakes.
He is.
And it cost him. It cost him big time. And, if he would have made that right decision there, that maybe they don't score in that particular situation. And again, maybe Aston Villa gets an extra goal. Game's in a whole different situation. But, really, really sad for Aston Villa because they scored some great goals in that game too.
They did, but they came up short. So PSG is one of the semifinalists. And then the final game that we're going to talk about, Barcelona versus Dortmund, which, I thought was going to be the least interesting of matches. But Dortmund came in with a 4-goal deficit and actually won that game 3-1 in front of their fans. Of course, in aggregate, they still lost 5-3 overall. So Dortmund is out. All the German teams are out. There are no Germans in the semifinals. So now, here are the final 4. PSG versus Arsenal. That's going to be amazing.
Wow.
And I just saw Thomas Partey got a yellow card at the very end of the game. Just a stupid yellow card. And now he's out for the first leg of that game. The first leg of that. Yeah. And then the other one, Barcelona versus Inter Milan. And, you got to believe that Barcelona is heavy favorites in that game.
You would think so. Yeah, you would definitely think so. I mean, the PSG-Arsenal game, I think, can go either way. I think Arsenal's got a great shot at that to give them a chance to get into the final. So, I think that could go either way. And I think PSG, at least they can see some cracks in their armor a little bit after watching those last 10 minutes against Villa. So I think Arsenal should feel very confident going in against PSG.
I think so, too. And the thing about that Arsenal team is how strong their defense is.
Yes. Yeah.
It's really hard to score against those guys.
I mean, they did make one mistake today. He just lost the ball at the top of the box, and then Vinny Jr. smacked it in. But that doesn't happen enough. But I mean, and if you notice, and I've seen this a lot, and even spoke to some of the players who I'm coaching this week, is that the transition moments that Arsenal are so good at. Declan Rice, and even today, when Martinelli scored the goal, that was on a transitional moment. It was fantastic. They do it so fast and so quick, and that's how it should be done. And they score a lot of goals in those situations.
They do. And Saka being back is a difference maker.
No question. The class that he showed to chip it over the goalkeeper.
I know.
Tremendous.
And he missed a penalty kick in the first half.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was trying to be a little, what do they call those? Palunkas? No. No, that's what they said. That's what they said it looked like instead.
Yeah, a palunka. Yeah. It's a panenka.
Panenka.
Named after the Czech player that did it, that scored it the first time.
You know that fun announcer, he called it a palunka after he messed it up.
Oh, jeepers.
So what do you think? Who do you got in the finals?
I'm going to go with, I think it's an Arsenal-Barcelona final. I really do. I think they're on a fantastic run. They've got the confidence. They know how to win against these big teams. They can take a lot of credit for beating Real Madrid. They're beating the champions. Hey, why not? Let's go to the final. And then after that, who knows? That it's going to be a tough game for Arsenal in the final, but I've got every belief in Arsenal getting to the final for sure.
All right. So when do those games get played? They're still a few weeks away, I believe.
Still a couple of weeks away, and then the final obviously is going to be right around Memorial Day weekend.
Right. All right. So let's switch over to the Premier League because
big results.
There's an outside chance that Liverpool can clinch the title this weekend, but it's such an outside chance. I'd rather talk about the battle for Europe because that's really gotten interesting. The other game that was going on while we were watching the Champions League is Newcastle was playing against Crystal Palace, and they crushed them.
Amazing.
Was it 5-0?
5-0. I did flip it over. I did get something. I was watching it on my phone a little bit, so I was kind of watching the bits and pieces, because I'm an ardent English Premier League fan, so that's why I watch those extra games. But the interesting part with this goal was that Saka had his penalty. Uza had his penalty saved, and then they literally went down and scored. And so that was kind of the turning portion of the game. So they went 2-0 up pretty quickly. All of a sudden, the floodgates opened, and before you know it, they're down 5-0. So that was a huge, huge result for Newcastle. And I can probably quite honestly say Crystal Palace is not glad all over tonight.
They certainly are not. But Newcastle is, because don't look now, they're all the way into third place on the table right now.
Oh, man, the Geordies are doing great. I mean, as we mentioned last week, we talked about how I think they're the team in form. Since that League Cup victory, they've been unstoppable. Even though their manager was in the hospital in this past couple of games. I don't know if you heard about it.
Yeah, I did, but they've been very cryptic about why he's in the hospital.
Yeah. I think there's the potential of pneumonia. I think he got pneumonia in some way, shape, or form. So is what I've heard. So it's just obviously it's not a fun thing to deal with. But it seems like they're playing for him. There's no question about that. With 59 points now from 32 games, they've moved into third spot. Hey, they might be gearing down second. You never know. But look, if I'm going to say a lock, they're going to be the best lock for being in the top four, no question, along with Liverpool and Arsenal.
Yeah, I agree, actually. But now you look at the teams right behind them, and there's quite a battle. Now, there will be 5 teams that make the Champions League this year from the Premier League. But you have Nottingham now with 57 points. And as you predicted, they went out and lost this past weekend, and they're hanging on with their fingernails to that 4th spot.
Yep. This is new to them. This is a new situation for them. Last year they were fighting to stay in the league. Now they're fighting to get extra football in the summer, preparation for the fall. So this is totally new for them. So you've got to expect there's going to be some ups and downs. And then you've got seasoned teams behind them in Man City, Chelsea, and Aston Villa. These guys have all Champions League pedigree. That's the thing.
So Man City right now sits in 5th with 55 points. Chelsea has dropped to 6th with 54. They kind of had an uninspiring outing this past weekend. Is a nice way to say it.
They was throwing things at the television. I could see it. They were soft things, so they didn't break anything. But my goodness, you're down 2-0 to Ipswich. You're going to expect. There's a lot of things that are going to be thrown at you. I mean, it's just, what are you doing?
I know. This time of the year, against the second or third worst team in the league. I mean, come on, Chelsea, what are you doing?
Exactly. And they didn't have their best players were missing too.
Yeah.
You know, Mario Hutchinson, former of Chelsea, they've signed. He was not in the game. Delap did come on later in the half, but he wasn't playing. I mean, what are you doing? Don't give up 2 goals like that. Just terrible, terrible stuff. And then they got back and rallied to make it 2-2. But that's a game you win. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And Villa is now tied in points. They're behind in goal differential. But Aston Villa is in form, wouldn't you say?
Oh, no question. No question. They are in form. They're the team that are moving in a good direction. There's no question.
So of those teams, I mean, at least 2 of them won't make the Champions League. And where's your money right now?
Well, I hate to say this, and I'm, my heart says obviously they're going to make it, but if you're picking 2 teams picking a team that's struggling out of these teams, it's obviously got to be Chelsea. So they're the one that's their form, and they're so inconsistent. But I'm never going to bet against them, obviously. So I'm going to say maybe Man City may drop because they've been a little bit inconsistent as well at times. So I'm thinking maybe Villa and Chelsea. We'll see.
Okay. Bold choices. Yeah. But we are going down to the wire. What do we have? 6 games left now?
6 games left, yes. Yeah, so it's going to be here before you know it. 38 games left. And, 13-point lead for Liverpool, so everybody else is fighting for those other spots.
And, we'll talk about some of the games coming up this weekend. I'm sure you've chosen wisely on that for the tip of the week. Let me give you the stat of the week, because I was thinking to myself, incredible comeback almost by Arsenal. What is the greatest comeback in the history of the Champions League?
Well, it might be the Liverpool comeback. Would that be correct in saying?
Well, not according to what, the rankings, but it was a 4-goal deficit. There was a 4-goal deficit in 2016-2017. And it was Barcelona versus Paris Saint-Germain, which, again, we're talking about.
That's right. I remember that. Yep.
Overturned a 4-goal deficit from the first leg of a knockout. And that is considered, they even have a name for this game. It's called La Remontada, which is the comeback for Barcelona. If I remember correctly, they had a certain player on that team at that time who might have had something to do with that.
That's true. Yeah, Luis Suarez was a good player for them. I'm sorry, Messi. Yeah.
So absolutely. You said you were just at the Fire game. You just saw both of them, right?
Saw both of them. It was interesting just to see. I mean, Messi's just so good. I mean, it was just funny. Every time there was a free kick, I've never seen so many phones pop up ready to video. So it was quite good. Great crowd, 62,000. Suarez, he's just... It's an interesting guy because he looks awkward. He runs, he looks like he's tired. He looks like an old man in terms of how he plays, but he finds himself in good positions. He probably had the 2 best opportunities to score. Got one disallowed and then had one he kind of blasted over the top. But you can still see his quality is there. So, but it was good. It was just good to see those guys live. So it was good. I took my son, so he was excited to see it. So it was good.
And no biting.
Yeah. Everything was good.
It's a bonus.
It was a good game. Yeah, the field looked great. Like I said, a great crowd, 62,000.
Well, 62,000, that's amazing.
It's fantastic. Yeah, biggest crowd that Lafayette have ever had.
Imagine when De Bruyne plays against Messi next time.
I know. Yeah. That's right. That's what we want.
All right, Free Kicks is brought to you by the Illinois Youth Soccer Association.
Illinois Youth Soccer has been proudly serving the Illinois soccer community since 1975 and has a strong history of credibility. Illinois Youth Soccer is a nonprofit corporation, official state association, and charter member of the U.S. Soccer Federation, administers U.S. Soccer Federation coaching programs, the Olympic Development Program, and U.S. Soccer Federation referee programs. For more information, go to illinoisyouthsoccer.org.
And since you're in a hotel room, I'm assuming there's some of this.
And now, the latest Chicago area soccer news. Soccer news. With Coach Adam. Coach Adam.
So tell everybody why you're in Orlando and what is going on down there.
So very privileged to be part of our national ODP program. So I'm privileged to be coaching one of our national ODP teams. We're competing in a tournament down, it's called the Easter Invitational in Orlando, at a beautiful facility. Playing games against MLS Next teams, also some international teams. So I have the 2011 boys team, which is great. So a couple of Illinois players on that team, and doing well. We had our first game. We've got a couple of games tomorrow, shortened games. So they're being very smart about how everything goes. We beat a team out of Mexico today, and we've got 2 games tomorrow. So fingers crossed things go well, but they've been very good and conducive to listening in terms of trying to get a little game plan together. It was a little toasty out there this morning, but we controlled most of the game, but just didn't score enough. But we scored enough to get the W, so that was good.
And tell everybody the name of the kid who got the assist.
Oh yes, of course, Zico. So one of my players on the team, Zico, did a great assist to score the goal. So and the winning goal was scored by Esteban. Esteban's from Georgia, Zico from Southern California. So,
Love it.
Good job. Mm-hmm.
All right, it's time for your favorite part of the show.
Time now to guess the Premier League star.
Okay, so this one might be a little tough. Let's see if you can get those juices flowing here.
All right, okay.
Your brain juices. All right, this week's star is 27 years old, so he's been around. In fact, he's played in 191 matches with his current club, so he's almost part of that 200 match club. His team is one of the teams we've talked about.
Okay.
All right. Previously played for Brentford.
Okay.
His father is Congolese, and his mother is Angolan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he has 11 caps for his national team, and that national team is from England. So he plays for the English team.
27 years old. We've spoken about the team.
Yep.
Would this team be in the top 7?
It would be.
Okay. Interesting.
He wears number 4. But I will tell you, he's not a big scorer. He's only scored 7 goals in his entire career, in his entire Premier League career.
Right.
And that's because he is a center back and a right back, depending on where they're using him.
Okay, gotcha. And would you say he plays for a team that's trying to get into the Champions League, so they're kind of on the outside looking in?
Yes.
And this is a team that competed very well against PSG?
Yes.
And he's been playing a fair bit for England, would you say, recently?
Yes, he has.
And he's also probably a bit of a surprise choice at times.
I would say so, yes.
So my guess is Ezri Konsa.
That's right.
He scored a goal yesterday, right?
He did.
Yeah.
Big goal.
Yeah.
He also missed a wide open header right in front of the goal that would have put them in the Champions League. But, he's not an offensive player, so he was in the right place. Yeah. He just, didn't connect. But yeah,
it's interesting.
He's a good player. He has been playing a bit for England lately, hasn't he? Did he play when you went to see him?
He did not. No, I did not. I don't think he did. I don't think he did. Yeah, but you're right. He has been playing a lot because they've had some few injuries. That's for sure. He had to play a few times for Mark Gahey, who was injured because of Crystal Palace. So yeah, there was definitely some games there. And then he was also played in the Euros as well. He started in one of the games at the Euros too. So yeah, he's definitely a big part of the England setup. Hopefully he'll still be part of Tommy Tuchel's setup. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out. Right now we'll find out something else because it's time for this.
Now time for Adam's Weekend Soccer TV Tip.
Okay, we teed it up for you.
There are
the teams that we need to be watching. We've mentioned all of them. So please tell us what games we can't miss this weekend.
Well, it's got to be Brentford-Brighton. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's the perfect week because these are games that are going to be vital in terms of the setup. And I think the team that we're going to be watching, and again, notice we're talking about Aston Villa and our good friend who listens to our show on a weekly basis. But Aston Villa is really the team to watch this week because they've got two games. Yeah. Their first game on Saturday, they play against Newcastle. Big game.
Huge.
Big game for them. Yeah, so that's going to be there I'm sure on NBC, so watch that. It's a later game. I think it's the 11:30, 12:30 kickoff, whatever it may be, depending on what zone you're in these days. Mm-hmm. And then they also play in the middle of the week again against another fierce competitor for the top five spots, Manchester City. Right. So it's Aston Villa all week long. Those are the teams. So you'll see if they are going to be, as we've mentioned many times, are they contenders to be in the top five, or are they just merely pretenders? We will see.
Yeah, it's a make or break week for Aston Villa.
It really is. Exactly,
they win both of those games, and they're sitting pretty.
I think so. If they win both those, they're in. No question. They're probably going to get that next spot. Newcastle, like I said, depends on where they stand, but they're in a decent spot. Chelsea's got to get to be consistent. Same thing with Man City. I think Chelsea and Man City are fighting it out for the last spot if Villa win both these games.
And so who's Chelsea playing this weekend?
Chelsea has another tough game. They're away. It's a derby, local one, Fulham. They got Fulham.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's playing. Their schedule coming in is extremely, extremely difficult. So Chelsea's games are not going to be easy in the next few weeks. They got Fulham next week. They play Everton the following week. And then they also play Liverpool the following week after that. Boy. And then they finish with Newcastle as well. So it's going to be really, really tough. Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully Liverpool will have clinched the title by then, and maybe they play some of their lesser players. That could help you, possibly.
I hope so.
All right. Free Kicks is brought to you by Green White Soccer Club. I mentioned we were at the game at Inter Milan versus the Chicago Fire. But even more important Green White news, we had our Schlachtfest last weekend, and we made 250 pounds of delicious sausage and served it to a crowd of 300 people.
Wow.
And then this coming week, as you're listening to this, it'll be the first Monday and Tuesday of next week, April, I think 21st and 22nd, or 22nd and 23rd. Look at your calendar. We've got our tryouts. Green White has teams of just about every age. So come on out and try out for a excellent local soccer club. That's the Green White Soccer Club. Go to greenwhitesoccer.org. All right, people to thank. We need to thank our executive producer, Tony Lasano. Thanks, Tony. Also to our distributor, Ed Silla, with the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Great Talk Radio isn't dead. It just moved to a better place, radiomisfits.com. Should we thank room service? Have you ordered room service?
No, maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I can do that. Yeah, I'm going to go get a coffee. That's what I need to do.
Okay. Well, we'll thank the barista, and, and we'll thank the room service, and we'll be back again next week with a brand new episode of Free Kicks.
The preceding
was a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Find our other great shows on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at RadioMisfits.com. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?